There are essentially two types of diabetes, although diabetes can be divided even into further subtypes. Diabetes is a very complex metabolic disorder. When I talk about metabolic, what do I mean? It just concerns building up and breaking down of nutrients, okay? So when you have type 1 diabetes, it means that your body is not producing any insulin. Your pancreas is totally out of service, so to say, and so you are not having insulin circulating in your body or very negligible amounts of insulin in your body, and therefore we must give you insulin to sustain your life. What does insulin do in our body? Insulin is what takes our food from the bloodstream, opens up the cell, and lets our body receive the food in form of like glucose, amino acids, your proteins, I mean your amino acids and your lipids into the cells, and therefore then you get nourished. So when you do not have insulin, then all these things are retained in the blood. And one of the easiest ones to measure is glucose. So what you notice with both type 1 and type 2 diabetes, how do we diagnose it? By high glucose levels. Now, what's the difference with type 2 diabetes? In type 2 diabetes, you have a relative lack of insulin. Your insulin production may be very high because there's the basic problem in type 2 is called insulin resistance. So your insulin level you may be found when your insulin levels are very high, trying to overcome the insulin resistance, or as your insulin levels are waning. So sometimes your insulin levels may be normal but not able to cope. And then finally, we can also get you when your insulin levels are now also going down as the pancreas tires out. So type 2 diabetes is characterized by insulin resistance, the body not being able to receive insulin at the cellular level and therefore access glucose from the blood. So just like type 1 diabetes, we'll only know you have diabetes based on a blood glucose test, and secondly, based on your signs and symptoms. Now, type 1 diabetes presents very, very dramatically in most people, so they are often much easier to diagnose, but type 2 is subtle. It can come in very slowly over a number of years. So you can walk with type 2 diabetes without knowing. And it is the reason why you often hear us referring to diabetes as the silent killer. What propels type 2 diabetes is related to your lifestyle. When do you sleep? How you eat? What you eat? How much you eat? Whether you exercise or not, your stress level, among other things. And that is why when we manage diabetes, we always address lifestyle.